Hi, in this video I would like to talk about something that Corey Wayne has touched upon, and it was in one of his videos where he talked about manipulative liars, and that actually got me thinking. One of the reasons that he mentioned in his video is because these people who are manipulative liars, they have actually found that at some point in their lives, telling the truth has had disastrous consequences, and report I've been thinking about this, and I believe, and this is through my experience, that strict parents, really strict parents, tend to breed dishonest children, and I don't want people to think, oh, if I'm so hard on my kids, they are going to start to lie, because people would actually agree that in actual fact what they are doing when children start to lie in the first place is because of a choice, and it's a choice to be dishonest or truthful. And if you think about this again, if you have kids, you would want to teach them to be truthful, honest, and in order to do that, you'd need to explain to them why lying is not okay, and in the long term, what that actually does is it discredits you, and it's horrible because people won't believe you even if you are speaking the truth, and it is very hard for some people to have a understanding of people who actually tell lies, because most people deal with the truth and only the truth, and it makes it harder, if not impossible, for them to be able to emphasize with you. But I believe it starts off at quite a young age, where you want to impress, where you want to be thought well of, and it's generally because it starts off as a fear of disappointment, and then there's the fear of rejection. A couple of people out there watching this might actually understand, because people who tell the truth and completely the truth, I don't see any need whatsoever for people to fabricate it or tell half of the truth. For me, it started off as a fear of disappointing a mom. Now, I have a good relationship with her, and I have always wanted her to think well of me, good of me, and that was how it started for me. I'm aware not a lot of people are going to empathise with me, but I'm hoping the reason I'm making this is to help other people and encourage people to try and tell the truth. Basically, like anything else, it's a practice. If you get in the habit of lying and telling a couple of half truths, even though it's the truth, but you're leaving out a chunk of information, that's not being completely honest. I think half the time it's a fear of a dramatic response. And I think at the end of the day, I think we all want to be thought well of. And I watched a light out of darkness, and this was over narcissism. Or her and me share a similar personality type. I know I always go back to this, but it all boils down to what type you actually are on the Enneagram. And for me, staying in and being thought well of in the eyes of my mum means that I can't tell her the utmost truth when there's a problem and when I fall into difficulty. Lying is in a way like taking drugs. Once you start, and it is so difficult to get out of. It is really difficult, and people have relapses, or like people who have taken drugs in the past, there is hope. There is hope for them because they can go into a rehabilitation place where they can get help and they can get support and they can actually learn to overcome it. But it doesn't mean to say that they won't have relapses. It just means that they have a weakness that they have to conquer. And lying is exactly the same, because in order to support one's addiction, they are usually pretty skilled in not telling the truth. But drugs aside, I want to emphasize that people who have got into the habit of lying, I mean, whether it's half a truth or you've made up something, it is still classed as a lie. And in order to get out of it, you need to start telling the truth. And that means telling that next person everything. But what I would say is this: start with a person who isn't going to judge. Usually ads are a safe bet to go to, because they don't have extravagant reactions, and they can take in what you are saying at the moment in time, of whatever's happened or whatever's gone wrong. And like anything else, telling the truth is a practice. There is actually, what people don't realise, as there is actually a fear involved, that if I tell you the truth, the whole truth, are you going to judge me? Are you going to think of me differently? Are you going to, I don't know, disown me? Are you, it starts like that, and it's a huge risk to start telling people the truth, because people who deal with the truth all the time, they tend to struggle to see the other side of this, the other flip of the coin, because people out there all the time don't have patience, don't have the time to deal with a manipulative person, or a person who doesn't tell the whole truth when given an opportunity to. I think the best thing is to start telling the truth to a couple of trusted, closest friends or family, and then once you start speaking the truth, it actually becomes easier. The first couple of times it's going to be like, my heart's going, how are they going to react? How are they going to respond? Or when you start taking the time to explain things, actually becomes easier. It really does. Trust me on this.